Swift.
A fortnight ago, New Zealand stood neck and neck with India with 4 wins out of 4. Since then, it's been 4 losses on the trot, and now they have to win to keep their fate in their own hands. Win, and New Zealand are all but through to the semis. Lose, and they will need Pakistan and Afghanistan both to drop points. On Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo Matchday powered by Qatar Airways. Steve Harmison's here with us to help set up New Zealand versus Sri Lanka in Bangalore. It's been a while since they've won, but good news for New Zealand is that for the first time this World Cup, they actually have a full roster of players available to pick from.
Yeah, that's been a luxury that they haven't had, with obviously Kane coming into the tournament and Saudi, 2 experienced players not available. I think, but this is probably the best outcome New Zealand were probably thinking when having that selection dilemma, which was, do we keep them for the back end of the tournament, knowing that the experience we'll need if we get to the knockout stage? And I think it was a gamble very, very much worth taking, and I think that's paid off. They're on a 4-loss run at this minute in time, but I think when you look at it, the components are playing reasonably well. Ravinder's scoring runs, Williamson's come in, hit the ground running as soon as he's fit, and then obviously Saudi as well, who bowled quite well in the last game. So I think all in all, when you look at the New Zealand side, I think their best 11 should be too strong for Sri Lanka.
So what is that best 11? And more specifically, the pace bowling mix seems to be the one where they need to take a call. The options are Bolt, Southee, Jamieson and Lockie Ferguson. I
think they need to have Southee's experience, and he's fresh. He's just come into the World Cup. Bolt, self-explanatory, he picks himself in 50 over cricket, in white ball cricket for New Zealand, and I think they need the pace of Lockie Ferguson. I think Lockie Ferguson's a big blow for them when he got injured, and I think he was a big player in them early parts of the tournament. So for me, that would be the 3 seamers: a bit of Chapman, obviously Mitch Santner, and then a little bit of Ravinder and Mitchell to mix it up if they need that sort of 6 bowling, that 10 overs to cover the 10 overs for that fifth and 6th bowlers. So I think that covers all bases, and obviously Will Young will probably miss out at the top when Williamson comes in at number 3 and Ravinder opens with Conway.
The only other bit I can think of in terms of a selection choice is between Mark Chapman and Jimmy Neesham. The reason I ask is because there is a little bit of rain around Bangalore on Thursday, so might that tip the scales in Neesham's favour?
It might tip the scales in Neesham's favour, but I think they'll go with Chapman. Chapman was the first pick when New Zealand got to India and we got to the World Cup, and I don't see that changing. I think they'll go with what they see as their best team. Forget the rain, forget everything else. What's our best team to be able to win against Sri Lanka? And for me, I think Chapman just marginally gets the nod over Neesham.
If we look at Sri Lanka, they are out of contention for a top 4 finish, but they are still fighting for Champions Trophy qualification, and they come into this on the back of what was first a debilitating loss to India, where they were bowled out for 55, and then possibly the most frustrating loss to Bangladesh, given everything that transpired. What's their best bet to trouble New Zealand and try and get something out of this?
Well, obviously they've got Madhushanka, who is in unbelievable form with the ball, and he is key to this massive game for Sri Lanka in world cricket. They have to qualify for the Champions Trophy, because the way they went about their identifying these young players less than 18 months ago, going with Chris Silverwood, identifying young players, moving a lot of the old guard out, even though they brought Angelo Matthews back in. This young team has to have a world event in 2 years' time at this, to keep at this discipline, 50 overs, to keep their education and momentum going forward, or all that planning would be all to waste. So I think that's why it's such an important game for Sri Lanka. There's a lot of goodwill for Sri Lanka after what happened with Angelo Matthews and Shakib Al Hasan and Bangladesh in the last game. There's a lot of people talking nice things up because they feel Sri Lanka was hard done by, but I think now it's about Madhushanka, who is the leading light in the Sri Lankan team at this minute in time. He's the one with the most wickets, and I think he has to have a good day again against New Zealand's top order for Sri Lanka to have any chance.
Yeah, if Sri Lanka are to lose this, they'll be left needing some favours from either Bangladesh or England or Netherlands to keep their spot in the top 8 intact. For New Zealand, if they don't win and other results don't go their way, it will be the first time in 20 years that a men's ODI World Cup will not have a New Zealand side feature in the semi-finals. Coverage for the game begins right after the toss on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPNcricinfo Match Day, powered by Qatar Airways.
Stunning looks, then swift,